In 2024, we saw the rise of two mega female pop icons. That's right, Lady Raven and Sky Riley. Now, both of them had concerts this year, and well, neither of them went exactly as planned. So that's why in this video, I'm analyzing who's the better artist and who had the better concert. Looking at categories like who had the better outfits, choreography, songs, who treats their fans better, and of course, whose concert was really safer. And disclaimer, this video is just for fun, and if I say anything negative, it is not targeted towards the actors who play these characters. Starting off with the outfits. Who wore it better? Now this is pretty subjective because I know nothing about fashion. Starting with Lady Raven, she usually just wears long, flowy dresses, except for the opening number where she wears this. And for Sky Riley, we really only see her wearing two bodysuits, a red one and the butterfly one. Again, it's subjective, but I just think the bodysuits that Sky wears are just cooler. They're a lot more interesting to look at than just dresses. I will say in Lady Raven's favor, the big flowy dresses make for great movement, like they can blow a fan on her and it like flows behind her. So as for movement, Lady Raven beats out Sky Riley, but in overall just coolness and color and texture, it's Sky Riley who wears the better outfits. But if you went to fashion school, let me know who you'd pick in the comments. Now it's time to talk about the production itself of the concert. So I'm talking sets and lights and backgrounds and any special effects they have. And of course we have to point out that Lady Raven is at an advantage here because we just see more of her concert. Because Sky's concert was cut a little short, if you know what I mean. But what we do see of Sky Riley's concert is that she comes up from the ground in a cocoon dressed as a butterfly. That's a pretty cool effect. I like the cocoon set piece. And in an earlier scene during a rehearsal, we see some harness system set up. So one could assume that Sky Riley would be lifted up into the air, and that would be pretty awesome. And something that, you know, Lady Raven never does. From what we see, Lady Raven has about 3 sets. The staircase at the beginning, and then the house with the piano, and then these box sort of things. And sometimes it's just a blank stage, like in Dreamer Girl. The staircase and the boxes are nice for a visual to have something on stage, but they're not really, you know, as cool as a freaking cocoon. They're just sort of bare in my mind. I do like the house, but, you know, she stole that from Taylor Swift. And one would have to assume Taylor Swift exists in this universe, so, you know, not very cool of her to steal that. Lady Raven also has these huge LED screens that show graphics and such in the background, like clouds and whatnot as she sings. It's nice, but, you know, sort of every concert has those nowadays, including Sky Riley's, but we really only see her face projected on those screens and nothing cool in the background. So really, rising up from the floor is really the only thing Sky Riley has going for her. But if you remember in Trap, Parker Wayne also rises up from the floor, but this time he rises up from within the audience. And that's when Josh Hartnett is like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we went down in the hole that just opened in the ground? And, you know, Parker Wayne is played by some celebrity cameo or whatever. So the one thing that Sky Riley did that was cool, it also happens at Lady Raven's concert. Even though I don't think Lady Raven had the most interesting and dynamic set pieces in the world, it just is more than what we see of Sky Riley. So I'm going to have to give this point to Lady Raven. Time to talk about choreography. Who had the better dancing in their concert? Well, let's just say the one rehearsal scene where Sky Riley is singing New Brain and she's getting flipped upside down and whatnot absolutely clears anything that Lady Raven ever did. Sky Riley is literally in the front lines doing the dance with the dancers, and she's getting picked up and turned completely upside down while still singing. That's awesome. All Lady Raven does is this. Don't get me wrong, her background dancers are impressive, but Lady Raven herself doesn't really do that much. And I know the realistic answer for this is because Naomi Scott is probably like trained professionally in dance, and Salika is not. So, and for that reason, Sky Riley is getting the point. And speaking of New Brain, let's talk about the songs. This is a big category here on this chart. Who has the better music? Now, of course, I like talking about movies, not music. So, again, I'm not very experienced in talking about this. I can't really say what makes a song good or bad. I can just give my subjective opinion whether or not I like it. Both movies released albums with songs sung by the fictional pop star, but one thing that Smile 2 did that Trap didn't, which I appreciated, is it listed Sky Riley as one of the artists of the song. They also credit Naomi Scott, but I always just think it's cute when movies do that. Like, they credit the singer to the fictional character, like High School Musical does. And Trap just says Salika sang all those songs because, you know, the movie is kind of an ad for her music. Another main difference is that the Lady Raven album has 14 songs, while the Sky Riley album is actually an EP and only has 6 songs. And one of them is a piano version of another song, so really there's only 5 songs. Which again puts Lady Raven at the advantage here because she has more opportunities to create bops. But all of her songs sort of sound the same. Her songs are like pop, but not Kesha pop, more like Billie Eilish pop. I'm sure there's a name for the subgenre, I just don't know what it is. But with that, all of her songs are just sort of slow, and there's nothing wrong with slow songs. It's not like I'm a baby who needs Baby Shark playing all the time. But it's also like, they have the same like tempo beat sort of thing going on to where they all sound very similar, and I can't really distinguish any of them from each other. Sky Riley, on the other hand, even though she only has 5 songs, they're pretty diverse. She has 2 more slow ballads and then 3 just straight up pop songs. My favorite of which being New Brain, of course. I unironically listen to it on my free time. And her song Death of Me actually just straight up sounds like a Kesha song. Like, if you just played it to me, I would think that would be Kesha singing. And I don't know if you can tell, but I really like Kesha. So yeah, this category certainly is subjective to my music tastes, and I just prefer Sky Riley's. I'm sure there are people out there who prefer Lady Raven, but one thing you can't really argue with is that Lady Raven's songs are just Salika's songs that, you know, she wanted her dad to put in the movie, whereas Sky Riley, the songs were actually written for the movie and actually, you know, have something to do with the themes and the plot of the movie. Like, again, I'm bringing up the song New Brain, you know, because that's about addiction, and Sky Riley struggles with that. And, you know, that's a nice touch when the songs actually feel like they are within the world and that the singer would be singing them. And for that reason, Sky's getting this point. Now, a crucial part of being a celebrity is how you treat your crew and employees behind closed doors, because you don't want any of them coming out and trying to cancel you, right? We don't really see Lady Raven interact with anyone besides like her limousine driver, but we don't need to because of how poorly Sky Riley treats her crew. Sky is definitely at a huge disadvantage here since, you know, she is possessed by a demon and having schizophrenic episodes. So she has a valid excuse for the way she acts, but we do see her snap at her assistant, her choreographer, and her momager, even going so far to, you know, kill her mom, sort of. But that's not real, and that's a whole problem I have with that movie. But in the moment, we believe that the demon made Sky kill her mom because somewhere deep in the back of Sky's mind, she has that wicked fantasy of doing it. Sky's momager really does treat her poorly, so it makes sense for her to treat her poorly back. It's just really messy over on the Sky Riley side, so I'm gonna have to give this point to Lady Raven. I'm gonna burn mind. Now, a crucial part of being a pop star is how nice and friendly you are to your fan base. So this next category is based on how they treat and interact with their fans. And again, this one's not a very close contest. The main time we see Sky Riley interacting with her fans is during that one meet and greet. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, that guy was very creepy and inappropriate and should not have acted that way. And I don't blame Sky for how she reacted to that, because he was gross and that was his fault. But when she's interacting with other fans, she's still, sort of phoning it in and not really caring. Granted, yeah, she is possessed by a demon and didn't get much sleep that night, so she's just going through the motions of signing autographs and fake smiling for pictures, and she doesn't really want to be there. Juxtapose that with Lady Raven, and oh my god, she blows Sky Riley out of the water. Essentially, just for the whole Dreamer Girl sequence alone, I watched the scene again, and Lady Raven is so nice. She just stands out on stage smiling, holding her arm out, and she does everything in her power to make this little girl feel comfortable and safe and confident while on stage in front of thousands of people. She's just extremely caring and nice in that moment, and it's very cute. Not to mention that afterwards, she goes over to Riley's house to make sure that, her dad doesn't kill her, and genuinely cares for the safety of this little girl and the community at large by using her fan base on social media to help find a man who is held hostage. Lady Raven goes above and beyond, and that's why I'm giving her this point. But it does certainly help that she is not addicted to any drugs and is not going through a psychological break. Like Sky Riley, so she has the advantage. Looks like we're all tied up entering this final round, the one you've all been waiting for. How safe is the concert? Is it more dangerous to let a serial killer who is known for chopping people up into an enclosed space filled mainly with little girls, or go on stage when you're possessed by a demon who will make you kill yourself, and when you do, you possess everyone else in the audience, thousands of people with the same demon, dooming them to their own demise? Well, it's more complicated than you think. Let's start with Lady Raven. She was approached by the FBI about this concept to put on the concert to trap the guy, and she agreed, knowing very well that she will put a serial killer in the vicinity of all her young fans. She could have just, said no and canceled the concert and kept all of her fans safe, but instead she said yes, allowing the serial killer in. But at the same time, it's sort of her civic duty, you could say, to help trap this guy. I said trap. Because if he isn't caught, then he keeps running around killing more people, and if you have the chance to stop a serial killer, wouldn't you take it? So she's protecting the larger community by doing this and keeping everyone safer in total once they catch this guy, but just has a little bit of a risk while having this guy at the concert. But the concert's filled with agents and people with guns and stuff, so you'd hope nothing goes wrong. And it really doesn't, actually. No one dies at the concert. It's just one person gets a burnt face from hot oil. Now we go to Sky Riley, to where she didn't really have a choice. She thought she wasn't going to the concert. She thought she was gonna get rid of the demon by injecting herself in the neck with that thing that would temporarily kill her. But all of a sudden she wakes up and she's on stage and she doesn't have a choice. And if you can't tell, I'm pretty upset at the movie for doing this, because I like my characters to have agency, but that's a whole other video that I actually have an entire script for, but I didn't think anyone would watch it, so now I'm doing this video instead. Really, the only thing Sky Riley could have done to prevent this whole thing is just kill herself immediately as soon as she found out how the smile demon works. And to be honest, I don't blame her too much, because it wasn't explained to her as well as it was to the other main character in the first movie. So the main difference is that Lady Raven actually had a choice on whether or not to go through with this thing, and Sky Riley just woke up there and had no power on whether or not she would do that terrible thing to her entire audience. And you could also say that the trap at Lady Raven's concert didn't go as planned and the guy got loose, but she still followed the girl home and did her part in helping catch the butcher. So she does good there, and ultimately, for that sake, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm gonna have to give this point to Lady Raven. Lady Raven has won in having the best concert, even though Sky Riley put up a good fight by having the better outfits, choreography, and songs. In a normal world where nothing crazy happens, like there's no Butcher at a Lady Raven concert, and there's no Demon at a Sky Riley concert, they were just normal, average concerts, and they were on the same night, and I could only get one ticket, I would go to Sky Riley, because, you know, I like her songs more. Whose concert would you go to? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this silly video. And if you like trap, I did a video about it already. And if you don't like trap, well, click on this other video instead.